been a while, but a lot of you have been asking me to bring the videos back. I'm getting tons of questions on, like, if I own Breckenridge, what is all kind of that story. So I'm gonna do a writing slash how I got Breckenridge story, because I think I need to get some confusion cleared up, and a lot of people think he died. He's not dead. So yeah, okay, so I started writing about 10 or 11 years ago. It's been off and on though. So I started writing and I did Hunter Jumper. And I rode this little pony called Leo. He technically was a lesson pony, but I was the only one who rode him because he was like, I want to say 12'2" or 13'2". He was like in that range. So no one else was able to ride him because I was my trainer's only child student, and I was like, I want to say 4 or 5. And so yeah, all the other ones were like either late teenagers or like adults. So yeah, and yeah, so I started writing and I rode this little leash pony called Leo, or lesson pony, whatever you want to call him. And then I started to do theater a lot, and I did a lot of plays, and I got into dance a little bit. And so my parents were like, look, you can't be doing all these sports, because I was doing theater, dance, and horses, and I was taking lessons twice a week, and it was just crazy. So like, you gotta drop out of one. So I decided, I was debating it, and then it was almost like I was definitely meant to stop writing, because Leo, he was out in the pasture and he cut his eyeball. So he went blind, and then the infection spread to his other eye, so he went completely blind. So then she obviously didn't have any other horses for me to ride. I mean, she did, but then she had started getting more younger students, and it would have been like too much on him, that other pony, because she only had 2 ponies, and they were both her childhood ponies, so they were older. So then I quit riding, and I want to say for about 2 or 3 years. I think it was 2, and then, or maybe it was like 2.5. And then, so I started really itching to get back into riding. So we were trying to get back into the program, but my trainer had obviously grown a ton. And so we didn't end up getting into the program again for about 6 months. So then it was all good, and my trainer, you know, I was on this, I rode multiple horses with her, and I think I was there 2 years, and then she got her own property because she was doing it at the boarding barn that we are actually at now. Sorry, my dog, or my mom's dog, is outside and she's making so much noise. It's not cold out, it's a nice day out, so that's why they're outside, because they can enjoy it, but she is whining, so sorry about that. So yeah, she moved to her own barn, and we were about there for probably a year, and I was really starting to get back into jumping and things like that, and I was really progressing. And then around Christmas, or it was at Christmas, on Christmas my mom showed me the new lesson horses, and it was Breckenridge and another pony. And I was like, oh my gosh, Mom, I love that one. I didn't know, because she didn't specify which one was which. So I thought Breckenridge was named Jazz. So I was like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna ride Jazz or whatever. I was like, I just know, like, I'm gonna be riding him. So then we went to the barn and I had my first lesson, and it was my first lesson in my new saddle. We obviously made sure it would fit Breckenridge. So it was my first time riding in my new saddle. It was my first time riding in my new boots. It was my first time riding in all my, matchy sets that I had gotten for Christmas. And so I was like so happy. I was riding the horse I wanted to ride. I was riding in all my new tack. I was so happy. So I rode him. Obviously, I fell in love with him. I was terrible at riding, so I looked like a sack of potatoes, worse than a sack of potatoes. And yeah, so I completely fell in love with him. And then I was so excited to go to my next lesson with him, and that was like a week later because I had lessons once a week. And so it was my next lesson, and I got there and I went in Breckenridge's stall, and Breckenridge is like super duper friendly and everything. Like he's such a goofball, but he's very introverted, so he's not gonna come up to like new people and just be like, oh hi, he almost has to have like an okay. But he had already like warmed up to me from the first time that I had rode him, and we went to go visit him that week. And so I went there, and he was just really, really off. He wasn't being naughty, and he wasn't like pinning his ears back, because like Breckenridge, I have only seen him like a couple times really pin his ears back. He'll put them back, but not pinned. But he was just, really acting off, and I was like, I was having an off day too, so I was like, okay, maybe it's just, me having my off day. So then I took him out, and I noticed, like, obviously I didn't have an eye to catch like lameness yet, because I had just taken like lessons. I didn't really take like horse management. I did a couple, but like not a ton. So then we took him out, and I noticed that he was like limping a little bit, and I was like, that's weird. So I groomed him and everything, and when I went to go pick up a certain foot, I can't remember, it was like, I don't even know. Yeah, when I went to go pick up a certain foot, he kicked, and he like didn't kick me, but he like kicked out like really hard, and he like slammed his foot back down on the floor. He did not want me to pick up that foot. My trainer ended up having to pick his feet out for me, because he just really didn't want me to. So I get him tacked up, because obviously I didn't really know what lameness was, so yeah. So I got him all tacked up, and it was all good. And I remember getting on, and I was like, hey buddy, I know you're having an off day, but I'm not having the best day either. So we'll just get through it together. And I literally remember those words coming out of my mouth. I said it out loud. And it was actually, I was having a double lesson with my friend, because we had really, really wanted to do that. Because, we hadn't done that. So it was actually, because she just started going to my trainer. So yeah, we were having a double lesson. And so I was really excited for that. I was like, we got this, buddy. And I get on him, and I get him into the arena, and he starts like limping, and I couldn't really feel it, because I just couldn't. And my mom, actually, which isn't horsey at all, she didn't grow up with horses or really anything, she points out, and she's like to my trainer, she's like, hey, is he like limping? She's like, no, I don't think so. So Breckenridge, he's obviously in pain or something. But me, I used to be really timid, and so I got scared over the littlest things. And especially because like I was already having a bad day, it just was not good. So Breckenridge, starts like jiggling his head, and so I'm like, whoa, and he walks towards the gate to get out of the arena. And so, I just thought he was like, I didn't know what he was doing. But my trainer just thought he was being lazy. And I'm not blaming my trainer at all for this, by the way. She just thinks he's being lazy. And so she's like, no, just walk him the other way. You're okay. So I walk him the other way. He's still doing it. He's acting like he's gonna rear. So, well, he probably wasn't. But in my brain at the time, I thought he was gonna rear up. So I was like really scared. So I'm walking him the other way, and I go into trot with him, and he goes for the gate again for the arena. And she just had there wasn't a gate, it was just an opening to go into the arena. So I thought he was gonna go out. I thought he was gonna take off with me. I was like so scared. So I had to get off because I was crying, and I was like, I just can't. So my friend gets on him, and he's acting the same way. And then my trainer, it finally clicks in her head that, okay, maybe this horse is lame. So I ride the little pony, and my friend goes and grabs another horse, and we do the double lesson. So I come home, and I'm like really sad because I was like, oh, I hope he's okay. And then I had missed a couple lessons because I was sick. This was like, when was this? Like 21, 20, it might have been beginning of 22 or beginning of 21. This was all in January. So then I miss a couple weeks, and my friend goes to the same church as me, and I'm like, oh, how's Breckenridge, blah, 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 just talking. And she was like, oh, he left. And I was holding back tears. I was so sad. I was so just gutted. I was like, I thought I was never going to see this horse again. So now I know why his owner took him back. He had 2 hot nails from the farrier. So he had 2 of those. Then, yeah. And my trainer also decided to take him off of his pain medication from his stifle. Which I didn't know that he had, any of this because, my trainer was just leasing him from his owner. So the owner takes him back, and he's obviously gone. I didn't know where he went, and because my trainer had her new barn, I wasn't going to the other one. So then I had a pony club meeting, this was in April. I was so sad. I really didn't have any motivation to ride at all, and it was really a downhill in my riding. And so in April, I had a pony club meeting, and we get done with the pony club meeting, and it's at my old barn that I used to go to. And she's like, I was like, because there was a horse, and she was my favorite. So I was like, I'm gonna go see what horse replaced this horse's stall. Because I was like, oh, if she came, she would have been so mad, just being funny. And I walk in the barn, and I turn the corner around, and I see Breckenridge. And I was like, wait, whoa. I literally backed up, and I was like, what? And then he turns and looks at me, and he smiles, and I remember that moment so clear. And I was like, and I read the name on the stall, and it said Breckenridge. I was like, oh my gosh. So I ran in the barn, and I found one of the ladies that was there, and I was like, hey, do you know who owns this horse? And she was like, yeah, why? And I was like, well, I love this horse so much. And she was like, oh yeah, I think, she's been trying to find someone to lease him or buy him. I was like, oh, yes. So then got her number and everything, and we contacted her. And she was like, oh yeah, Olivia can come ride him for free. Like, you know, I just want him to like be happy. He needs exercise. He's been out of work for a long time. So I started taking lessons with another trainer that his owner worked with, and because my trainer wouldn't come to the barn and we couldn't bring Breck there. So I was still taking lessons with my other trainer, and then I had the trainer that I would have with Breckenridge. And yeah, so we were doing great and it was awesome. And then my other trainer, she was like, look, which I love her so much, and she had been my trainer for so long, and I miss her so much to this day, but it was, we really didn't want to leave, but she was basically like, look, you can't like have 2 trainers, which I understand, but you know, so she was like, you can't have 2 trainers. So I was like, okay. So she was basically having us choose her or Breckenridge, and it was really sad. So after a lot of praying and a lot of tears, I decided to choose Breckenridge. And I think that was, I miss her so much, but I think it was a good decision. So yeah, so then we continued with Breckenridge, and you know, we were doing a lot of jumping and I was really advancing because I was, you know, at the lesson barn, yes, it's good to ride other horses, but when you're learning, it's kind of hard to be switched off and on horses all the time. So with Breckenridge, it really helped improve, and Breckenridge built me from the ground up basically, and now he's built me up so much that, you know, I'm above his level and I'm teaching him things, and it's awesome. So anyways, so yeah, we were doing a lot of jumping, and then I think it was, I want to say September, he had done a buck and it popped his stifle out, which he had stifle issues, but I didn't know about them. So he had popped his stifle and he was lame on it. And then I had found out that later, you know, he's had this all of his life, and it's just gone away when he's in light work. So he can't be like worked too hard, otherwise it will come back. But this time it wasn't going away when we were like letting him rest, being on stall rest. And, you know, the vet was like, you might have to put him down. And that really, really crushed my soul, like so much. And so, you know, I was thinking that like we were gonna have to put Breckenridge down, and it was really, really sad. But then he was like, you know, these shots might not work at all, or they might work and they can work for up to like 5 years. It's like 6 months to 5 years span. So we decided to try it, obviously, because we wanted to save him. Like, even if I couldn't ride him anymore, you know, I was completely fine with that, because, you know, they're animals. Like, you can't just get rid of them if you can't use them anymore. That's like really unfair, I feel like. So yeah, we did the shots and they worked. So Breckenridge was in rehab for about 2 weeks. It really didn't take a long time, and he was back in work, and he hasn't gone lame since. But then his owner, you know, we started leasing him around like the time where we were giving him shots and stuff. We started leasing him because we felt bad that she was just letting us use him for free. So we felt like we needed to like do something in return. So we started leasing him, and yeah, we started leasing him. And then the owner was going through some financial stuff, which is totally fine. She had 2 other horses actually, but she was in the process of selling one because he was too much for her. And so she had 3 horses. She sold the one, but she still just didn't have enough to keep Breckenridge. So she put him on the market, no one really wanted him because of his stifle issue, which is understandable of his age, because, well, he was like 17 or 16 at the time, but he's 18 now. And so, you know, no one really wants an older horse. So yeah, so no one really wanted to sell or to buy him. So she was looking into leasing him. So she leased him out. So it was a double lease. So we had to move barns. And Breckenridge was going lame every week. You know, neither one of us could ride him or even take him out because he was so lame, and it was really bad. So then we were like, you know, for the horse's sake, we need to figure out how we can buy him, even though we really didn't have the money to. So we talked about it with the owner, and she was like, oh yes, if anyone is going to buy him, I really want it to go to Olivia. She's like, I only was going to sell him because I just didn't have any, I was like running out of money. And so she was like, yes, I want Olivia to have him. And she gave, well, I say that, she sold him for us for $1. And so, you know, that like changed my life basically, and I was so happy. So we were trying to, and as soon as, you know, I was the only one riding him, he was never going lame. He was basically on his best behavior. So we were trying to get out of the barn, because the only reason why we were at the other barn is because the other leasers were there, and so she went to them, I guess, I don't know. So we were only there because of the other leasers. We were trying to move, and the other barn was full because the owner of the barn had a whole bunch of project horses, so it was full. So we were trying to move, and we finally got moved beginning of December, so we've been there for 2 months now. So that was crazy, and we are doing so good in dressage. Breckenridge is learning so much, and we are progressing so much, and I'm hoping to do some stay away shows this year. And I obviously retired Breckenridge from jumping because of his stifle. It's just, you know, I want him to last as long as possible, because when his stifle gets so bad, you know, he has to be put down. And the only reason why his stifle is bad is because he raced for 8 or 9 years, which is way too long, and I don't agree with racing. So yeah, so I want him to last as long as possible, not just to ride, but, you know, to be alive. So yeah, that's my riding story and how I got Breckenridge. So we are still with the trainer that was with us from like the beginning of when I started riding Breckenridge, and you know, she's great. Yeah, that is it. So yeah, make sure you guys stay tuned. Next, I'm gonna be posting every Friday. I'm gonna start doing vlogs. I'll still do some shorts, but not a ton. So yeah, stay tuned, because I'll be posting every Friday unless something changes. Go follow me on Instagram, and yeah, thank you guys for watching this long, because I'm sure this video is gonna end up being so long. So thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys next Friday. Bye.